Morning, guys. Shamir here. So we'll start in a minute or two, just giving time for some more folks to join the call. All right, guys. All right, so let's get started. Good morning, folks. Today we're going to talk about elevating education with AI-generated lesson plans. My name is Shamir Sadler. I'm the current chairman of SmartTerm. Let me tell you a little bit about SmartTerm. So SmartTerm is an education management company focused on digitizing education across the Caribbean and Latin America. Today, we are in 13 countries across the region, and we primarily serve governments and schools. And so what we do is we put technology in schools like learning management systems, school information systems. With governments, we work with them on education management information systems. And what this allows us to do is completely digitize our education so that we can use that digitization to drive analytics to make data-driven decisions, right? We've always talked about where education systems are today in terms of where it was 50 years ago, right? And we've always talked about digital transformation in education. Well, this is it. And so a lot of you on the call are probably users of SmartTerm or have just been introduced to SmartTerm. But we are at the cusp of digital transformation in education, and SmartTerm is one of the companies helping to drive that initiatives across the Caribbean. And so I'm happy that you guys are on today. We're going to talk about something that has been buzzing for the last couple of months: AI, artificial intelligence. What is it? And how does it affect education? And how can we use it to drive our lesson planning and content that we give to our students in the classroom to be more engaging and effective? All right. I want to get this out the way quickly at the start, not at the end. AI is bad. AI in education may worsen inequalities and leaving disadvantaged students further behind, or widening the digital divide. Um, those are things that are commonly said, right? But AI, like everything else, is a tool, and it's how you use that tool that determines the output or how effective that tooling is. And so, while this might not be entirely you know, wrong, um, we have the power to use AI in the classroom in the way that we see fit, in a way that supports our education system as it is today. And so we'll dive into some of that, right? But AI isn't all bad. It's actually more good than bad. So the structure for today, we're going to talk about understanding AI in education, and then we're going to dive into the key challenges and considerations that we should take on when we think about AI. And we're going to talk about creating content, AI-driven content and lesson plans. and then we're going to conclude. So it should be a fun session today, and we should be learning a lot. And I'm looking forward to fruitful discussions, especially when we get to the Q&A section of the conversations. Right. So write your questions down. Once we get to Q&A, I'd love to engage with you guys and kind of hear your feedback and hear some of your perspective on what you're about to learn today. So, what is artificial intelligence? AI or artificial intelligence is like giving a computer or machine some smarts, right? Think of it as growing a child or teaching students in a classroom. So you're giving it information, right? And as you're teaching them to do things, you want them to take on things that people usually do, um, um, things that can help you with your daily tasks, right? So you're teaching these machines, things like so that they're learning from experience or figuring out problems or understanding words or pictures. It's similar to how you teach a child in the classroom. And so experts in software engineering and computers, they teach these machines as if they were teaching students. They fill them with knowledge. The difference here is that it can learn at a faster pace, and it can retain vast amounts of information. And then it can use that information to then create tools and assistance and stuff like that to help persons live a better and easier life. So in the context of education, it's about making your job as a teacher a bit easier and better because it has all this wealth of knowledge. How do you use it to become your own personal assistant in the classroom, right? So let's talk about some of the benefits as a teacher. So one, it's like having a really smart assistant in your classroom. It's right beside you. You can ask it any question you want about the topics that you're teaching, and to get feedback, right? It can help you create lessons that are more interesting and effective. So think about our kids today and how they learn, right? If you guys are interacting with kids in the classroom, you know this. They're online regularly. They're watching YouTube. They're on Discord with their friends. They're playing video games, etc. And they're learning at such a vast pace because technology allows you to do that. If they want to go on and go ahead of the teacher in the classroom in terms of learning the curriculum, they can actually do that. And so nothing is limiting them from learning. And as such, if we continue teaching them the same way we've been teaching for the last 50 years, what's going to happen is that they're not going to find the contents inside the classroom interesting, and they're going to want to learn more in the spaces that they're more engaged, right? And so for effective or for the best student outcomes, we know we must have motivated and engaged students. And so how do we do that? We can create lessons that are more interesting and effective. Um, it's AI is a tool, right? That should help make your teaching easier. So for example, if you have something coming up, you have your notes, you have your lessons, you can feed that into the AI generator and it will spit out information or plans that you need to engage with your class. It can help with personalized learning where you can specify how many of your students need help in a certain area, certain topic, and it can structure the plans accordingly to ensure that each student is getting the amount of attention they should be getting on a certain or particular topic. And so you can use that as your own personal assistant. Talk to it. I literally go on and talk to let's say, hey, today I'm doing this, I need your help. I need you to help me generate a presentation on AI in the classroom, right? And I talk to it, and it gives me back information, and then I can use that information to do what I need to do, right? And I thought a bit about the personalizing of the lesson plans, which is very important. Imagine doing this manually. Now you can actually say to the computer, hey, I have these students that are these number of students that are X, these number of students that are Y, and a lesson plan is tweaking it to your desired needs. So I know on the weekends you guys will tend to sit down and do your lesson plans. Now imagine if you're not using the entire weekend again, you're actually only using a couple hours or even under an hour. That's pretty powerful stuff. You get back so much time for yourself and your family, a great work-life balance, right? So let's use AI as that tool that will give you back the time that you need. So what are some of the benefits? So personalized learning, intelligent tutoring, lesson plans, admin automation. So if you're admin on the call, yes, you can use AI to automate a lot of the things that you're doing. And of course, as we do these series of webinars, I'll touch on different aspects of the things that you see on the board here. Virtual assistants, chatbots, content creation, accessibility tools for kids who need different tooling around accessibility, because yeah, of course, as you know, we're in a space where we promote inclusivity, inclusive learning, equity across education in general. And so we want to ensure that everything we're doing and the tooling that we're using promotes all of that. And AI can help with all of these topics that you see here. However, today we'll focus mainly on lesson plans. So what are some of the things that people use today that you can start using today to to improve what you're doing? So there are plagiarism tools out there that you can use to detect plagiarism. A lot of teachers on here are like, well, my students are using AI to generate essays and do all those things. You can leverage plagiarism tools to ensure that you can detect what's going on. And there's more tooling being built to see when students are, leveraging AI to do everything that they're doing. Now, many might ask, is this a bad thing or a good thing? It's good to learn how to use the resources around you to do things, right? It's bad when you don't understand what you're doing, and so you're copying and pasting in answers, right? And so we have to shift our mind in the way we think about giving assignments and stuff like that to kind of meet the demands of today, right? Because the reality of it is that we are in a world where you can literally go online and ask the AI machines to give you 1+1, and it will just tell you what the answer is and give it to you in bullet point step format. At the end of the day, you can't stop that, but maybe we want to change the way we do the assessment. And so it's very interesting to figure those type of things out. Grammarly, which is a big one. I love this one. It kind of scores you as you write. Write Lab, you want to use this for, it offers real-time feedback to students who are writing. So you can't stop them from necessarily using AI to write. But what you can do is use AI to say, okay, listen, I don't want the perfect essay. I want you to try to write it, and AI would tell you how you're doing along the way so that you can improve. And I can help also jump in and tell you how to improve. But we're going to have to shift the way we think about giving assignments. And then Edpuzzle, which is like a video-based learning experience. It's interactive, it has question quizzes, etc., and it's AI driven. So these are just some of them that you can tap into, but there's tons of them out there. And today, of course, we're going to talk about lesson planning as one of them as well. So what are some of the challenges and considerations to consider when talking about AI or dealing with AI? There are the ethical concerns, then the data privacy concerns, and then the equity concerns. On the ethical side, you want to ensure that AI is factoring in everyone and treating everyone fairly across the board, no matter where you're from, your background, etc. Right? It should be giving the same output for each instance, in which it's being used. So it's ethical. Data privacy side, guys, like everything else, everything that you're doing, you have to be conscious of the data that you're entering into these platforms. It's very important to factor in the safety of the data, of your students' information, your parents' information, your information while you're using these tools. So definitely be very aware of what you're doing. And then on the other side, on the equity side, you want to ensure that AI is bringing more inclusivity and including more people into the playing field as opposed to driving more of a divide. We talked about that earlier today. And so there's tons of ways in which AI can help bridge that digital divide that we have today and ensure that more people are gaining from the education system and that we are being way more impactful than we are today, right? And for me, it's about simple progress. If we're at 50% today on the reach of our education system, can we get to 75% tomorrow? We don't need to get to 100% overnight. And so everything we're doing is about a gradual progression to more. And think about you engaging technology the same way. As you're using technology, you might be using one tool today, tomorrow you're using two, next year I see you using 10. Right. So think about it as a gradual progression to continue to improve the way you operate as a teacher and as an educator. Same way, that gradual progress. So by addressing these challenges that I mentioned before, we can make sure that AI is used in a way that is fair, it respects our privacy, data privacy, and it gives everyone an equal chance to learn and succeed. It's extremely important for us to drive and carve the way in which AI is used in our education system. If we do not do that, of course, it could be used in the wrong way. It's important for educators, yourselves on the call, policymakers, and technology experts like myself and my team at SmartTerm to work together to find solutions that benefit all students and make AI a positive tool in education. And we can do that together. So what are some of the strategies for implementing AI? So we're getting into the juicy stuff now, right? So now that we understand what AI is, we understand some of its benefits, we understand some of its challenges, now we're going to go into how can we use it to actually engage students and make it more fun, right? So let's talk about the Tamarind AI lessons and study helper. So this is something that is powered by SmartTerm that we're coming out with, and you guys can leverage it too. It's curriculum-aligned content driven by AI that allows students to study based on the curriculum items. And so everything is outlined. They get mastery scores against each and every single lesson item in the curriculum. And it provides questions for them to do continuous assessments to track mastery, right? So imagine a student doing CPEA or PEP or SCA, depending on which island you're from. And alongside the teacher's notes and the teachers, I think the parents are now empowered and given the ability to go on and kind of track by curriculum item where their child is strong and where their child is weak, and is able to allow them to go through the learnings on this platform and do the assessments and track mastery, which is powerful. And that goes hand in hand with what you as a teacher is giving in the classroom. So having this right there embedded inside of your subjects is powerful, because you know as a teacher can then say, okay, my class is here, midterms are coming up, end of term exams are coming up, and I can tell the mastery breakdown by student. So then if you're going to help a certain student, you know exactly what topic they need to be helped with, right? And I'm not saying that can't be done today, but it's very difficult. When you give out the exams and you grade them, the student gets 70, the student gets 80, the student gets 90. It's very difficult to then go topic by topic to figure out what exactly they're weak in. But now, because of this AI integrated system into the actual LMS, you now have the ability to then see that breakdown in real time and be able to help the students based on the areas that they're weak. And now the parents, who are very integral in education, also have the same knowledge to be able to help their child at home studying the areas in which they're weak. Think about diagnostic tests. It's the same thing. When you do a diagnostic test, you want to be able to say, okay, they didn't only just get 80, but they got 80, and these are the areas that they got wrong or they were weakened. And so you can then use that to target the group of students coming into your classroom. So it's really powerful stuff. And this is the things that we're doing. And we intend to launch this in beta in a couple of weeks. And so a few schools will get access to it. And then we plan to open it up to the broader public in January, right? And this is just one way of how we're using AI on our side to give you guys more power. Now, the question generator, right? It's very important to have these questions readily available so they can do the questions. And so the questions can come from two sides. It can come from the lesson side that you saw earlier in the previous slide, or you as a teacher can literally generate questions based on the objective that you're teaching. Isn't that powerful? So no longer are you clicking and adding in your options and doing all those things based on the topic you're teaching. The AI can generate you some questions and you can assign that to your students. You can vet it and then assign it. Really powerful stuff. So no longer do you have to drag and drop, click and go, et cetera, et cetera. We are bringing tooling to you to help you improve the way that you teach in the classroom. And so you'll be able to generate those questions and assign it to your students right from building your lesson plan, which is really powerful. And you'll see this in a couple of weeks as well. And the last thing I'll touch on before I go into the live demo is our AI lesson planner, which we continue to improve as we go over time, right? And so what it is that you're able to go into the system, go into your subject, go to the lesson plans folder in the resources, and put in the title, the learning objective, and the model, and it will generate a lesson plan for you. And then you can then go in and edit that lesson plan based on what you want and based on what you need. Also pretty powerful stuff, right? And so we want to make your lives easier, right? We all know how difficult it is to write that plan from scratch and how much it takes up your weekends and your after school hours, right? And so we want to bring tooling to you as teachers that will make your lives much, much easier, right? And not only that, that is making your lives easier, it's also helping you create engaging and effective lessons because you now have an assistant who can help you think through things that might be engaging or effective for students, as opposed to you having to think of these ideas all on your own. And because it's pulling from the internet, it's pulling from all these resources, all these teachers across the world, it can help you put together plans from all this wealth of knowledge, as opposed to just you on your own on a Sunday trying to get these plans done. And so I encourage you to leverage the tooling to improve or enhance the way you deliver your lessons, right? And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I am going to reshare the actual live demo of me doing the lesson plans in person. So just give me 1 second. Alrighty. So you should be able to now see my screen. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you how you get to your lesson plan. So as you're here, right, I went into the subject computer for grade 5 Johnson, right? And while I'm in here, you can see that, Alroy went ahead and kind of like, customized his classroom backgrounds a bit, etc. Right? I want to do a lesson plan. So I went to the resources section and I went to the lesson plans folder. Right? Now I can add folders or files, but in this case, I want to add a file. So I'm going to add a file and I have 3 options when I'm doing so. I can create a file, right, from scratch. I can upload a file that I already have. So some of you guys are creative, you're using Canva, you're using PowerPoint, and you already have your lesson plans. Great. Go ahead and upload it to the system. In our cases where you don't have it and you want some inspiration from AI, you can then use the generate using Tamrin AI button. And so that's the one I'm going to use today. Right. And so now that I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put in my learning objectives. So today we're going to learn about what are storage devices, because this is a computer class, right? And the learning objective is that I want to teach the different storage devices and come up with an engaging way to teach about hard drives, right? And that's what I'm telling the AI, right? Um, right. Engaging way to teach about AI, right? Sorry, hard drives, right? And then I'm going to choose my model. Now, in the system today, we support these three models. I'm willing to take suggestions on other models that I would love to take other models that you guys might have. So if you guys have other models that you want to put in, we are willing to do so. And I'm seeing that there's some questions coming in. So right after the demo, when we move to the question section, I'll answer your questions. And so I am going to choose the 5E model today for our presentation, right? I'm going to go ahead and click generate. The AI is now doing its thing. So think of it as, you went to your assistant teacher and you said, come up with this thing. And your assistant teacher is going to come back in about maybe 15 to 30 seconds and give you a whole lesson plan that you can work with. And as they give you this lesson plan, you're now going to read it. And if you want changes, you can go back and tweak it and ask for changes. Okay, so lesson plan was generated. So I'm now looking to see what happens. So they're teaching the different storage devices that come with Engage ways to teach about hard drives, right? So they start with the engage part. So the beginning lesson by asking the students if they know what a storage device is and what type of storage devices they know. Then show them the different types of storage devices on devices such as USB drives, SD cards, external drives, and cloud storage. Ask them to share their experiences using the devices and what they use them for, right? And then there's the explore section, the explain section, the elaborate section, and the evaluate section. And then they tell you about the materials that they have that you should have in order to do this, right? And then it tells you what the assessment should be, right? And then so suppose it now you're saying, okay, I see this, right? And you want to make some adjustments, right? You can say include floppy disks and CDs in the lesson plan, right? Just something very basic. So you're now improving on what you have. Remember, I told you this is your assistant. So imagine your assistant teacher came back with this and you're like, well, we have CDs and floppy drive disks too, and they should learn about that for whatever reason, right? And you say regenerate. You are now improving continuously on your lesson plan. So you tell them this, for sure they're going to include floppy disk and CDs in the new plan. And as you go, you can keep tweaking it and looking to engage it, right? So now they start including floppy disk and CDs, right? Now, of course, I could have typed it in myself, right? Um, of course, I could have typed it in myself, but the idea here is that we use our AI assistant as much as possible to drive the outcomes that we're looking to drive. Because by including CDs and floppy disks, they later on in the thing, it will also update materials and other sections that you might need to update to make this work. And so that's why you want to leverage your AI planner. Now, suppose we wanted to change models because we don't like how 5E have done it, or we want to say include a small group breakout for 20 students, breakout activity for 20 students. So now you're telling it to do more. And so now you're saying, okay, not only that I want you to do CDs and floppy disks, I also now want you to include that breakout activity in the plan as well. So I say regenerate, give me more, right? So you're saying I want this to be engaging and effective for my students. So give me more, give me more, give me more, right? And then also what you find out after maybe a minute or two of tweaking this, you now finally have a plan that you want to work with. And so you will see where it says in the explore section, divide the class into 4 groups, provide each group with a set of storage devices, ask them to explore the different storage devices, identify the differences between them, ask them to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of each thing. And now you have breakout groups inside of your thing. So use this assistant to drive effective and engaging plans and cut your time down drastically. Because once you save this plan, right, what you'll see happen is that it's going to save it directly to your subject. It's right here. What are storage devices? It's right here. Your lesson plan is right here, right? And you can download it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's a PDF. And so use this tooling to make your lives easier. Give yourselves time back on the weekends and stuff like that. Talk to it. Be friends with it. Tell it what you want. It will give you exactly what you're looking for. And then you can go in and edit and tweak it as you see fit, right? And so that is how we use our AI lesson planner to drive more effective and engaging plans inside the classroom. And everyone here that already have access to SmartTerm or SmartTerm tooling would have access to this AI lesson planner that I've just shown you. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed what you saw. I'm going to switch back over to my presentation, and then we get into some Q&A, and then, we get some of the engagement flowing so I can understand some of the things that you guys are looking for, some of the things that you need, some of the things that you want. So let me go ahead and stop the share, and then we're going to hop back over to our presentation. So give me 1 second. All right. So in conclusion, right, you don't need to be a tech expert to start using AI in your teaching. That's one thing you can just remove from your thoughts, remove from your mind. Anybody can start leveraging tooling. Remember I told you about progress? Today you might be using one tool, only the SmartTerm lesson planner, right? And then tomorrow you might be using 3 different toolings to get your lesson plans together, plus your content, plus your questions. And so as you go, you'll continue using more, but just start, right? Start by exploring the simple ones, like the one I just showed you. Very simple to use. There's 2 fields that you're entering, plus the model type, and then that's it. That's nothing else. It's pretty easy to use. Right? Experiment with it slowly, 1 step at a time. Like I said, steady progress over time, right? Pick your tooling as you go. If you guys stumble on tooling you like, it's not in SmartTerm yet, or you want it to be there, reach out to the team, let us know. We'll implement it into the system so that you guys can use it to make your lives easier, right? And so, like I said, remember, AI is here to assist you and make teaching even more effective and fun, right? So let's remove the idea that AI is bad or it's here to cause problems, because it's not. A lot of persons might make it seem that way. AI is here to make our lives easier, and it's to help us to transform and digitize education and move it into a space and a realm where our students are at their peak potential, because we've allowed them to get to that point, because we are invested in their education. All right, so thank you guys. That was my presentation for today. Is the first of a series of presentations to come around technology, what SmartTerm is doing, and how the different tooling that we have will help propel education forward in the Caribbean. So thanks guys for hopping on. I'm gonna hop over to the Q&A section, right? And I'll now go to the Q&A section and start answering some of your questions. Okay, so the first question here is from an anonymous attendee. How much does this platform cost? It is a per student cost. And so, if you're in St. Vincent, for example, where we work with the government, all the schools in St. Vincent would receive this platform, right? If your government is not yet, engaged with SmartTerm, it's a per student cost, and so it's very economical based on the size of your school. So a school with 50 students wouldn't pay the same price of a school with 2,000 students, right? And so it all depends on the thing. And if you want a more accurate answer, please, I'll put my email address here. just reach out to me and I'll get you set up with the guys to be able to um, help with giving you better pricing. All right, I have Kiwana here from SVG, Edwards Cottle. I teach at a secondary school. Would there be any move to include ones that are given at Teachers College, which is followed by the majority of the teaching fraternity? Yeah, sure. We're not opposed to it. I think any model or any tooling, anything around this that you guys are doing, our goal or aim is to provide as much of that in terms of resources and stuff back to you guys and integrate the way that you've already done things. And so yeah, that's no-brainer answer. Yes. The idea here is to move in that direction so that we can continue giving that type of support. So the easy answer is yes. All right. All right, let me move over to Fidel Baptiste. The question was, will this be recorded and shared? I have to go now. Yes, so the session was recorded, guys, and we'll share this session after the call. All right. All right, the next question was from an anonymous attendee. When will this be fully in the SmartTerm platform for all to access? Okay, so we have a select group of schools that would be using the Tamarind lessons view along with the content, along with the questions, where we'll select group of schools that will be using in the next couple of weeks. And then in January, we intend to make this GA, which is generally available across all our schools. All right. Next question that we have is Janice Cunningham saying this is an excellent tool. Congrats on this new initiative. Thank you, Janice. I appreciate it. Yeah, the team is working extremely hard to try and provide the effective tooling for education. And so I'm glad to hear that you like the initiative. Thank you. Then we have a question from Abe Brown. I was late coming to this meeting. Would the recording be? Yes, I will. We will be sharing the recording after the call. All right, Abe. Harriet Blackman, where do the ideas that AI give you come from? Oh, right. So in particular, the AI tool that we are integrating with is the one that's the most popular on the internet. When you hear they say Chat GPT, that's the one that we're leveraging today. Tomorrow it could be something different, but today's Chat GPT is the same one, same thing that powers Chat GPT is the same one that powers our AI lesson tool, right? Lesson planner. Hope that answered your question, Harriet. If it didn't, just let me know. All right, another one. Will you share the presentation? St. John the Baptist Kinder's Preparatory School. Yay, guys from St. John. Yes. Yes, we will be sharing this out with you guys. And so once the link goes into the different WhatsApp groups, feel free to share it around to your other teachers, etc., so that they can start leveraging it and using it. All right. All right, so Cayman, Kwana, Edwards Cottle again. This is more the format we use. Okay, number of students, age group. Okay, yeah, this is nice. This is a good breakdown. And so Kwana, and for those who are not seeing this, I'm not sure if you can see the Q&A section. But I will attempt to drop this in the chat so everybody can see it. So Kwana is saying that this is the format that they use for their lesson plans and how they kind of structure it and how they set it up. And for us, we are big on customization and ensuring that things work in the way that, or it's intended to be. I know that Jamaica is strictly 5E across the board. Other places have different models. And so we aim to cater to the different schools that we have on our platform. So that's no worries. I think that's something that we'll take back to the team and we'll figure out how we make this work, right? Which is fine. It shouldn't be an issue. Harriet Blackman, can an individual purchase SmartTerm products? Yes. So we are, and this is the timely questions. So we have a lot of teachers who want to use SmartTerm, but their school is probably engaged with another provider, or the school is not yet ready to take on SmartTerm, or the government might not be ready to take on SmartTerm. We're creating a teacher-led instance that teachers can sign up, invite their students into the space, and they can use SmartTerm. So you don't have to now rely on your school anymore or the government. You can actually use SmartTerm on your own as a teacher. So easy answer is yes, right? All right, Jervis Dabrio. Should teachers be concerned with hallucinations in the generated plans? Hallucinations. Jervis, you want to dive a little bit more into what you mean by hallucinations? I think I might have lost Jervis. All right, when it comes in. Okay, any more questions, guys? Again, thanks everybody for hopping on. I hope you found today's session useful. You learned a little bit more about AI and how it could be used. You learned a little bit about what SmartTerm is doing in AI and some of the things that we're bringing to you guys. And you learned about the AI lesson planner, which is already available to you, already have access to it, and you can leverage inside your classrooms today. Jamie and myself from the SmartTerm team, we will be sharing the video link, the recording out to you guys, so that you can then share with your other colleagues who might have not been on the call. Jervis Debria would love to answer your question. Just reach out offline and let me understand what the question was, and we'll definitely address that. Okay. Oh, he came in. One of the main issues with generative AIs is them giving bogus information in some instances. Right. Okay, good question, Jervis. So for guys on the call, Jervis was saying sometimes the AI gives incorrect information or bogus information. That is true. Sometimes it gives an answer that might not be fully accurate or might be out of context, right? And so you're still your responsibility as a teacher. The same way I read through the plan just now is for you to read through the plan and ensure that the things that you're doing there make sense. In the side of the lessons that we're doing and stuff that we're doing, we're feeding it with content from our different curriculum topics. And so it's intended to be on point. Now, we do have a QA process that we follow to ensure that the questions and the things that are in place is exactly what we intend it to be. Same way as a teacher, when you're generating these plans, you have to look through it to ensure, do a quick QA, read through it to ensure that whatever it's suggesting is exactly what you want, right? And that's the expectation, right? So you don't want to just to blindly take what the system generates you because it might not be fitting for your class, right? You might have a class that has X number of students and it's generating it for 20 students. That's of course off the bat an incorrect generated lesson plan, right? And so you want to ensure that you are actually proofreading or QAing the lesson plans before you actually save them and move forward. All right. So thanks for your question, Jervis. And so I wish Grenada had gone with you guys. Jervis, I'm still hoping that we can still make it work. No worries, all in due time, everything with time. But yes, the intent here is for us to keep pushing forward. What we've done with St. Vincent, I'm sure you guys can be up by next year if they choose to go a different direction. So let's see what happens, right? But yes, guys, thanks again. And it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. Until the next session. Not sure when that is yet. I'll check it with Jamie, but until the next session, you guys have a great time and I'll talk to you then. Bye.